All right, definitely excited about spring practice starting tomorrow. I'm excited about the sunshine outside. Last week I was a little stressed on Tuesday and Wednesday when it was snowing, but I'm excited about the sun. So we're supposed to have a great week. It seems like I've been here about a year, but it's been a long time coming to get on the grass. First, our guys have been going through the fourth quarter program, the off-season training, and I got to commend Coach Davis and his staff, the strength and conditioning staff, have done an outstanding job, as well as the players buying in and working extremely hard, getting ready for this point as we transition into football. So I'll be excited to get on the field as the guys are tomorrow afternoon, and I'll open it up for questions.
Talk for a little bit about just your general health of your team, who's available, who's got to be kind of limited.
Okay. Overall, I'm really pleased where we are as far as numbers of guys that are going to practice. We've had more numbers, bodies practicing here than I've ever been associated with. So we've got a lot of depth. But there are some guys that are going to be limited. Probably the number one guy that most talked about is Kevon Cartwright. He's been transitioning in drills the last couple of weeks in the running stations and looks good. And I'm not a doctor, but I would say he's close to 100%. But we're still going to limit him throughout the entirety of spring practice because the main goal is to get him ready for fall and playing games. But he'll wear a non-contact jersey, and hopefully we can transition him into some of the non-contact drills. But we're going to be very careful with him. Jake Slager will still be a little bit limited, but we'll practice and get reps. But I don't know if he'll do any of the live contact stuff as we get further along in spring practice. Tomas Riviera and Jordan Benson are two guys that will be limited as we start, but hopefully we can transition into full go before spring practice is over. Jordan Finley is out. Jake Bennett will be out and be limited to just drill work with Coach Friend. I might be missing a couple, but that's off the top of my head, the guys. So we're a little bit thin up front on the offensive line, but we will have enough to have two groups, but that'll just be more opportunity for those guys to get more reps.
How well do you think you know your team now? How well have you been able to familiarize yourself with it?
Well, it's a process. It's me getting to know them and them getting to know the whole coaching staff. The fourth quarter program is a good chance where we get to, interact with them and coach them and see if they'll respond to commands because we get to get involved with that. And we've had some position meetings with the NCAA allow 2 hours a week. We get to do some film study and sit down. So, we're starting to get there now. There's going to be a different side now that we go on the field and the grass and we're coaching. But it'll, we've still, all of spring and summer and fall camp, it'll be a continued process of them learning how we coach and how to respond to coaching and what we expect. But that's the fun part about it.
For a new coach and a new staff, what are your primary goals?
Well, number one goal is to get better fundamentally. Spring practice is about little things to me: the blocking, the tackling, the alignment on certain stunts or blitzes, and doing the little things right. Second thing would be, we got to find out who our playmakers are, getting to know our team, so to speak. Who are the guys that are difference makers on the offense and defensive side of the ball? Start to form an identity as an offense and a defense and as a special team unit. We've got offensively, we've got things that we want to be and who we want to be, but do we have the personnel to do that? Same thing defensively. There are going to be schemes that we implement, but at the end of the day, we're going to do things that give our guys the best chance to succeed. And then find out who loves football, who loves to compete, who likes to go out there and play. And that's what spring practice is for.
You're a quarterback background.
Right.
You're not inheriting returning quarterback,
right,
unfortunately, but how democratic are you going to be during spring ball with that position?
Well, I've had to deal with this a few times in my career. You've got a new starter coming in, but it's a little bit different. New staff, new scheme. everybody is code number one right now. There's going to be competition there. We're going to give everybody a chance to prove it on the field. I'm a firm believer that it's going to play out on the field through practice, through scrimmages, as we go through spring and through fall camp.
How comfortable are you with tight end this year? Because it looks like 4 guys switching positions to
Right.
other spots. I mean, just the depth you really like.
Well, the tight you're looking at fullback and tight moving. I don't know if I'm gonna pronounce this right. And Woso, maybe the N silent. Woso to fullback, and then Nuvali from the defense to fullback. But the second tight ends, fullback, are basically the same thing that they've played with what the H-back. We're just going to call that position the F because we will line up in a little bit more traditional two-back than the offset wing that CSU played in last year. But we're going to double train all the tight ends for that F, but their primary position and who they meet with will be Applewhite or Coach Hammer.
Getting back to the quarterback question, Coach, are you hopeful or would you prefer to know who that person is by the end of spring football, or are you really going to keep that open all the way through August?
I'm really not one way or the other. I'm not dead set on when we finish spring practice that, hey, this guy's number one, but if there's a clear-cut number one, we could name a number one. Now, there's going to be a depth chart when we finish spring practice of, 1, 2, and 3, and, we'll put them on that depth chart, but the competition will stay open through fall camp. Even if we come out of spring and Nick Stevens or Craig or Coleman is listed as number one, that does not mean that they're going to be the starter going into fall camp. There's going to be competition in fall.
You obviously bring in a big offensive play. How much do you hope to get installed during the spring? How much do you feel like you need to force feed?
Well, the plan is to install everything that's in the playbook. Now, it's spread out, over 11 days right now, 11 install days. But as you get going, there'll be certain things that we'll say hold. Let's don't install this right now. Let's make sure we got this concept in before we go to the next. But we want to try to introduce all of it before the 15-day window is up, practice day. So they've got some idea of trying to get it on tape and use it as a teaching tool. We've got a lot of tape of doing things the way we want, but it's Georgia tape. I want to get as much stuff as of our guys running the concepts and executing the right way, and then we'll add those plays of our guys doing them to the cut-ups for fall practice.
If you do it that way, if you're able to get everything in, do you think that's a benefit for your team? Because as they're on campus in the summer, they can reteach it to
There's no
themselves.
question. It's basically like a big redshirt year for our whole team, where they're kind of learning how we coach, learning our schemes, and then they're going to take what they learn, and in the summer they're going to study it, and they're going to try to master it, and then they'll be able to compete and play faster in the fall. So that's why competition really at every position is going to stay open from the spring to the fall, because there's going to be a big learning curve of guys trying to learn what each coach wants and how we want it done, and we're not going to penalize them if we don't quite understand it right now in spring.
How excited are you, and maybe even a little bit nervous, just to run your first?
Yeah, I'm a little, it's more nerves of excitement. It seems like we've been planning for this first practice for 2 months, and I just walked out of a staff meeting and we were going over the schedule again, and we're going to go walk through it as a staff here when I at 1 o'clock when I finish the press conference. You're trying to get every detail right, so when you go out there, you're organized and guys know where to go, and we have a productive practice. But this Saturday when it was beautiful weather and I was seeing some guys had already started practice, I wish we had started on Saturday. So I can't wait to get out of there. But there is a little bit of nerves. You got first team meeting here today and talk about goals and expectations with the guys and kind of set a standard of what we want and what we expect. And but with my experience with these guys in these short 2 months, they're going to be ready and they're going to handle commands really well. It's a mentally tough football team that I'm excited to see what they can do when we start playing football.
How have you crafted just the routine of drills and everything? Is it similar to what you're
It-
doing at Georgia?
Well, it's similar, and it's similar to what they've done here. We will two-spot a lot of drills, and again, there's a large number of bodies that are practicing this spring, and the worst thing that could happen is we got 22 guys going, and 75 are standing there watching. So we're going to have something going on at all times where guys can get reps and get opportunities and put their work on film, where coach can in the meeting can show them whether they're doing it right or wrong. So it's going to be big for us to be organized. Now, the one area that we're thin is offensive line. So we're not able to two-spot exactly the way that I would like right now just because of depth, but we've made some adjustments of doing more passing drills while we're doing some 11-on-11 stuff to get a large number of DBs and receivers some work and get them evaluated.
You talked a little bit about wanting to establish your identity offensively and defensively. How easy is that to do, or how hard is that to do in 15 days?
Well, you start the process of setting a standard of what you want. And I've talked a lot about offensively. We want to be physical and want to be able to run the ball. And when I say run the ball, we want to be a team that is able to run the ball when they know you're going to run the ball, and that's how you win championships. When at the end of a game, when you got to finish a game, you got to be able to run it. In doing that, you have to practice that way and practice physical and practice hard. Does that mean we tackle every day? No. But there's an area of physicality and toughness that you can get through spring practice by making your offense face the issue and your defense face the issue in stopping the run. Now whether our identity of how we come as move as an offense, whether it's a predominantly two-back team or a one-back team with three receivers tight end or two tight ends, two receivers, a lot of that will be determined about the competition at practice within the personnel groups. If our best personnel grouping is receivers, we're going to be heavy receiver-oriented. If our best personnel grouping is tight ends and those fullbacks, then we might be heavy two tight end, two fullback groups. So that's going to determine as we progress through spring practice. And I think we'll have a good idea of our identity in these 15 days because we only have a small sample coming in the fall with the 10 guys that are coming in the fall. Maybe only 9 because Mitch and Colby are already here. So it's not like you have 25 guys coming in the fall practice or fall camp that can change who you are as an offense or defense. Your core group of your team is here. And then defensively, I want us to be able to line up. I want us to be able to understand our gap responsibility and our coverage, and I want to play fast and play physical. And and we're going to be a little bit simple on defense as we go through spring, in that we understand the finer points of every front and every coverage and the schematics that go with the run fits and the coverages, so we get it. We don't want to go to phase 2 before we accomplish phase 1.
You say that, is that because you expect the defensive change to be more drastic? Or
A little bit. It's the 3-4, 4-3. It's whether you got that weak side defensive end or outside linebacker with his hands down or he's standing up. There's a lot of similarities between the two. There's going to be a lot of similarities in the coverage concepts that we do. The adjustment will be a little bit of how we've moved some guys around. There might have been an outside backer. Now we've got him as a stand-up guy in a 4-3, whether it's Sam, Mike, or Will.
You took the job without ever seeing this place. Amid the whirlwind of the transition, how well have you been able to familiarize yourself with Fort Collins?
Well, a little bit. I know how to get to and from work. I know some of the restaurants in Old Town, which is outstanding food and restaurants around here. My wife and family's not here, so I've been eating out way too much, gained too much weight. But it's just it's a beautiful place with really genuine and beautiful people here. The reception has been outstanding, and of course I'm undefeated right now, so everybody loves me. But I really love it. The only hard part about the transition is my family still back in Athens, and when they get here and we get a house and we get settled, it'll feel more like home. But the players have been great, the coaches, the community, the administration. I'm really, really, really excited about being here.
A lot of coaches get their first chance at a place where they're inheriting rubble.
Yeah.
Trying to step through the rubble. Is it energizing to know you're not doing that, or is there a side of you that you're sort of inheriting the program?
No, I'm excited to come. I told the guys that there are a lot of reasons that I came to CSU, but one of them, one of the main reasons is the guys in the room, the players, and what they've done, and the success that they've had, the leadership and the commitment to excellence that they've shown. One of the main reasons, and so it energizes me that these guys know what it takes to win and know the sacrifices that go into daily of becoming a champion. And that's our job as coaches and their job as players and the leaders that we have on this team to continue that to what they've built and build on it. We want to build a program that's a consistent winner. And, what is it going to take? It's going to take a daily effort of practicing like a champion, and that will be one of the main things I talk about today. Is every day we step on that field, we have a purpose and a mindset to go out there like a champion. We say we want to be champions, but we got to go out there and we got to put in the work.
When you went back and looked over, every coach has their own tempo that they want to practice to kind of
Right.
build by. When you went back and looked at practice tape,
Mm-hmm.
familiar with these guys, did you like the tempo? Are they close to the tempo?
No,
you
well,
would
the
use?
organization is the same, but the tempo will be a lot faster. They were a huddle team. We'll be a no-huddle team. And we'll be a no-huddle team that bounces from a two-back to a one-back. We're not just a no-huddle spread team, but we're going to play fast, and we're going to practice fast. And everything we do at practice is going to be how fast can we get it done, lined up and get our assignment and our alignment and run the play, execute the play properly as fast as possible.
How much of an eye-opener do you think that what you've seen on tape?
Well, a little bit, but we've trained that way too. Part of the fourth quarter is that we've trained faster and trained to be our goal is to be the best conditioned team in the country, and that's how we've trained. That we're going to run more plays and we're going to play faster and that we're going to have to be in better condition than the team that we play. So we've been preaching that since day one of the fourth quarter program, that this is how we're going to practice and this is how we're going to play.
Just the planning of spring practice, how is that different for you? Because like you said before, you deal with your recruits.
Right,
or
right.
You're in charge now. How's that been
Well,
kind of different?
it's a little bit different, but not too much. At Georgia, coach would basically leave the practice schedule and the plan up to the coordinators. And for the last 4 or 5 years, we've planned spring practice and planned our practices and our meeting time. So I'm used to that, and having done it with 2 different coordinators there at Georgia, and 2 different ideas, 2 different thoughts about doing things. And the last coordinator, Jeremy Pruitt, we kind of transitioned into this Alabama model of the 2-spot practice, and I really like it. I think it I know it benefited us last year as far as developing depth and continually get better every practice. So, and these guys here that stayed on from the last staff are used to that model too. A little bit of change for Coach Summers and Coach Fair and Coach Logo, but they're comfortable with it and excited about it. And then we'll go out there and we'll practice, and we're going to walk through what we're going to do here in a minute. And there's some certain things that we feel like we got to change. That's part of practice and what best fits us and who we are.
How much harder does going with the no-huddle type tempo, how much harder does that make it on a first year as guys are trying to learn things? That there's less time for them to process when
Right.
they hear what that play is going to be and figure out what they've got to do. Does that worry you any?
It used to worry me. When we were huddle when I first took over, and then we changed to a no huddle, and going from one spring, and you don't have the meeting time to sit and meet and go through the plays or walk through the plays. And I was nervous. There's no way our guys are going to know this or be able to understand it. And we go out there the first day of practice and we're flying. And the reason I believe the players are able to do that, because as a coach, you're looking at the whole package, the whole offense, the whole install, and you're thinking about everything they've got to learn throughout a spring. But when you give it to a player in segments and in pieces or concepts, today we're working a zone concept and we're working our quick game passings, so they're not thinking about the entirety. They're thinking about what they have to do. And then it's how you organize your no huddle, of the communication, that it's it's easy for a guy that he's just got to look for this and he knows what he's got to do. So it's how you plan and then how much you give them per day.
What are the reasons you like that style?
Well,
Coaches differ, some like it, some don't.
Well,
What are your reasons
One, it gives you the opportunity to run more plays. More plays means more opportunities to score more points. And I believe defenses are what we do offensively. If you're just to break the huddle and line up in a two-back or a twins look, it's easy for them to align and get their feet set and understand where they got to fit in the run scheme. But when you go fast, now they have to communicate fast, and a guy might be just 6 inches or half a yard off of his fit, and now the defense gets divided. And what we do offensively is that, ability to jump in a two-back and a one-back and a no-back and do all this fast pro-style offense, I believe gives defense a little problem. Usually when you're playing a team that's a two-back, that's going to run the power or run the lead zone, they're huddling and defenses are getting lined up, but we're going to do that and try to play fast as well.
You've had a chance to run some meetings with the players. They've obviously seen the playbook. You've been impressed with the way they've kind of picked up concepts in the plays without having a chance to run.
No question. These guys are. I'm extremely impressed of the football IQ of this football team. Intelligent guys that understand it in the meeting room. Now we got to see, can they transition from the meeting room to the field. And able to do that at a faster tempo, or able to do that when they're tired. But all that's part of training and practice. But I don't think we'll have to limit what we install because our guys can't handle it. Really impressed of how they've learned at this point.
Everybody's focused on the quarterback position because Garrett set all the records. You have some other positions where you lost some key guys, like the middle linebackers.
Yeah, no question.
Two guys that were very important calls. What are some key positions that you feel you want to see get developed?
Well, I think you start defensively. I think your two linebackers. When I talked about identifying playmakers or identifying difference makers, you got to start at that position. They might have made every tackle for the defense last year, those two guys, when I look at film. So we've got to find guys that, one, understand the defense, but the ability to make plays, the ability to show up. They've got a nose for the football. They've got natural instincts. It's one thing to understand coach's defense and know where to line and know where to fit, but who is that guy that's going to know where to line, know where to fit, but makes plays? The ball finds him. Every time that ball hits the ground, it happens to bounce up to him. So we're looking for guys that make plays. I don't want to limit us offensive or defensively where, this guy's a plus in the meeting room and understands this offense and defense, as well as the coach, but he doesn't make plays. We got to adjust. If there's a guy that just every time he's out there, he's making tackles or he's got a nose for the ball and intercepts balls, and we got to find a way to get that guy on the field. So I'm looking for difference makers, and linebacker is definitely that on defense. And then we got to find corner play. We got two experienced safeties. We got some young guys at corner that we got to see who's going to develop and be able to play out there on the island. We've moved one guy, Preston Hodges, to corner. I believe he's through the drills and through the fourth quarter. He's one of our more explosive players on this football team, and giving him an opportunity to play corner. Offensively, obviously the quarterback position, but the running back position as well. I think D was 1,200-yard rusher. That's a lot of yards and a lot of offense. And they were a predominantly passing team percentage-wise last year, but a 1,200-yard rusher takes a lot of pressure off of the quarterback and Richard and the other receivers. So we've got to establish some depth there at running back. Trey's coming back. Sosa's coming back, and there's a lot of guys coming back, but not a lot of guys with a lot of game experience. So we're going to give all those guys an opportunity to find out who can we depend on, who is guys who's going to be productive in that. And to me, that's the best way to help a young quarterback, is to be a balanced offense, to be able to run the ball, be able to spread the ball out to different receivers, not just Richard, take some pressure off of him. If the only playmaker we have on offense is Richard Higgins, we're going to be in for a long year offensively. I don't care who's playing quarterback. So we got to find some guys that are difference makers, guys that when you throw them the ball or hand them the ball, they can turn that average play into an explosive play. Who can flip the field for you on offense? And then we got to find, a place kicker would be, losing Jared Roberts, I believe that was his name. Was very productive.
Used his name once more than your predecessor.
But we got to find a place kicker, and he was, big for them last year and winning some games and very productive. So we're going to have a competition there. So running back, quarterback, kicker, inside linebacker, a lot of key positions. Our core group of guys, I feel real strong about. It's finding the difference makers on both sides of the ball and special teams that can help change a football game.
Well, you have inherited an All-American wide receiver.
Correct.
How eye-popping of a talent is he, and how can you challenge him?
Well, it's within himself right now. The daily challenge: do I want to be a good player? Or do I want to be a great player? And he has, day one, he's been one of the guys that I've been on and riding and challenging every day, and he has accepted the challenge and competed really every day in the fourth quarter drill, and which has been good to see. Sometimes guys that have success or think they might have arrived don't necessarily might not work as hard. But I didn't see his work ethic last year, but just an outstanding work ethic that comes every day to work and get better and ask questions. He wants to be great. He wants to improve on what he did last year, and he's trying to improve his game. And Coach Whitted does an outstanding job with those guys. But I like his mindset. I like the way he approaches every day. I like this whole football team. Their mindset and how they work, there's some things that we're going to work on as practice goes of trying to become, a physically football team like I've talked about. But they don't mind working. They don't shy away from work or expectation of how you want something done.
Anything else, guys?
Good. All righty.